Good morning, good morning. Happy Monday. It's a big week here. It's a big week. This is Summit Week. Welcome to Energize Live. We make magic in the mornings here. What is the date today? Today is Monday, July 11th already. Monday, July 11th. And yeah, it's a big week. It's a big week. Gorgeous sunrise this morning. I put a little video of it already on my stories. We'll go out and take a look in a little bit. Stunning sunrise this morning. So I hope it's a beautiful sunrise where you are. I hope you're up and getting after it on this. Can you believe it? July 11th already. Like we're like halfway through. Like you're on the downhill slope of 2022, if you can believe that. I don't even know how many days are left in 2020. Let's find out. How many days until December 31st?
It's 173 days until then.
173 days. You have 173 days left in this year to do something to move your life forward, right? 173 days. 173 days left in this year. And here we are on July 11th already. It's so crazy. It's a big week here because it's a summit week. So good morning. Good morning. How is everyone? Tell me what's going on. Tell me something amazing, something good, something that you did over the weekend. Tell me something that happened over the weekend. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Kelly. Good morning, Pam. Oh, you increased your weights. That's amazing, Pam. Tell me something. Strawberry lemonade, Energize. Like, don't even. If you haven't ordered this yet, like get off Energize Live and go right now and order it because it's life-changing. Strawberry lemonade Energize. It's literally life-changing. This is going to be like me and pumpkin spice Shakeology. It's going to be, I'm going to order it like they're going to have to bring a dolly up to my house with all, I love it so much. So much. My E-Fit Blessing, I don't know who you are. So here's the thing, my E-Fit Blessing, I will not know who you are when I see you because you do not have your name on your Instagram handle. So I will not know who you are. I will not know who you are. So I might see you, but I won't know who you are. And you'll have to introduce yourself to me using that Instagram handle, and that'll be weird. So you need to just change it. Your 13-year-old cleaned her room. That is a big deal. That is a big deal. Let me tell you something. Of my 3 girls, Jenna, oh my gosh, and she'd be the first to admit this to you. She'd be the first to admit this to you. Jenna's room was like, it's literally, she, like everything. Just everything everywhere. Just everything everywhere. No rhyme or reason. And growing up with my mom, there's a lot of expectation for my room to be like, so perfect. And my mom did not work outside the home, so she made our breakfast every morning, and then she would clean the house. She would do housewifery things and clean my room, make my bed, whatever. It's weird when you think about it now. And my room had to be like perfect. There was no wiggle room. There was no, like, you're a teenager, whatever. It was listen, whatever. And Jenna's room was the absolute exact opposite of that. And here's what I did. It's groundbreaking. Are you ready? Here's what I did. I took the door to her room and I went like this. And then I went on about my life. It was just like, I just did not put that in my sphere of things to worry about because I grew up with a parent who was, it was ridiculous. And I just took that door and I would look at it and I would go, huh. And then I'd just go, and I'd close the door. And that is called, my friends, pick your battles. Do you want to raise a good human or do you want to worry about a mess in a room? Now, can you point out some correlations to, having some organization in your room and, to being a good human, I suppose you could. But that's just such an argument. That's such a waste of time. Waste of time to argue with your kid over that kind of stuff. But I tell you what kids do, they collect cups and food in their room. So if you got all of that cleaned out of your 13-year-old's room, then you are awesome, because they just take these. There's always like, you're wondering where all the cups are, and it's like they're everywhere. Is it still like that to this day? Well, first of all, she doesn't live in my house anymore. So, I don't know, Bree, but I'm going to assume so, because when she comes here, her room's a mess, but I just shut the door. Who cares? Who cares? She's a good human who is a published author with Penguin Random House with a good paying job, and it does good work in this world. Who cares if the room is messy? You know, it's like, sometimes we get so caught up in these little small things in life. She turned out to be, go into the room, get your cups out of it, get the food out of it. Just shut the door. Just shut the door. And then they have to learn to live with it when they grow up. And if they want to live in a mess, that's what they got to live with. And you know, when they actually get better, here's where they would get better. This is what happened with Jenna. Now, they revert to childhood behavior when they come home. It does not matter whether they're 25 or 5. It doesn't matter. They still revert to childhood behavior when they come home. But you know what happens is then they go live with roommates in college, and their roommates are like, pick your stuff up. And then all of a sudden, it's a whole different ball game. So close the door. There's more important things to worry about. I'm trying to raise a good human. That's more important. And when they go to college or someplace else, like where they have to live with someone, that's when they'll figure it out. And it just is what it is. Okay, let's have a beautiful first sip. It's so good. It's so good. Okay, before we go outside, I know some of you want to talk about Summit. Which I'd love to do that. I want to show you this. This is a book that I'm reading right now, How Women Rise. How Women Rise. It's so good. And I'm going to show you this one. The tagline is Breaking the 12 Habits That Hold You Back from Your Next Raise, Promotion, or Job. Really, it's about breaking the 12 habits that hold you back in life. And I wanted to share with you these habits, the 12 habits that are specific to women that tend to hold women back. And what I love about this book is that it's sharing about the habits, and it's definitely giving some tactical ways to change the habits, but it's also just creating awareness around the habits. So I'm going to read these to you, and raise your hand if any of these resonate with you. Okay, these are the 12 habits that hold women back, women specifically. Number 1, reluctance to claim your achievements. Reluctance to claim your achievements. 2, expecting others to spontaneously notice and reward your contributions. 3, overvaluing expertise, meaning you think you have to be super, super, super qualified to do a thing. 4, just building rather than building and leveraging relationships. 5, failing to enlist allies from day one, aka thinking you have to do it all on your own. Sound familiar? 6, putting your job before your career, meaning thinking about the now and not thinking long play. Number 7, the perfection trap. Number 8, the disease to please. Number 9, I haven't gotten to this chapter yet. I'm on this habit. This is what I'm reading today. Number 9, minimizing. Number 10, too much, being too much. Number 11, ruminating. And number 12, letting your radar distract you. Those are the 12 habits that hold women back. So you can see I've got that much left to finish today, and I finished the book Insights last week, and then I started this one. So my goal was to get these two books finished before Summit. So I will finish this one today. So I have it finished before Summit. And then I won't take a book to Summit because let's not be silly. No one has time to be reading a personal development book at Summit. I'm trying to absorb everything that they're giving me. So I wanted to share those with you because if any of those resonate with you, I would highly recommend this book. And again, it's not just about the tactical stuff like, okay, here's how to combat it. It really is a lot about case studies, real life examples, and let's create some awareness around it, right? Let's create some awareness around it. Sometimes you don't recognize that it's you until maybe you read like a case study and then you're like, oh wait, that's me. So this first one, this is completely me. Reluctance to claim your achievements. That's a big one for me. And it has a lot to do with, so this case study really resonated with me because I don't want to read you the whole book, but a lot of women seem uncomfortable using the I words. They try to spread the credit around. This might make them good people. It doesn't necessarily help their careers. And when asked to reflect on why they struggle with claiming their achievements, answers vary, but two responses surface nearly every time. If I have to act like that obnoxious jerk down the hall, I prefer to be ignored. I don't want to behave like a jerk. And number two, I believe great work speaks for itself. If I do an outstanding job, people should notice. And here's where it really resonated with me. It's either or. You're saying you either have to be a jerk to claim your achievements, or you're just going to do nothing about it. So they live in this either or. But you and I both know that the space to live in is and, right? Everything that we can do lives in the space of and. So anyway, I just can't recommend this book enough. I just think everyone needs to go get this book, along with the book that I recommended last week, Insights. So good, so valuable. And I think they've been really valuable for me, especially going into Summit, preparing my talks, because I'm speaking 4 times. So just preparing all of this stuff that I want to like get out of my head and my heart and into the coaches who are there. So speaking of that, let's go outside and let's talk about, I'm going to leave that light on for now. Also, I really think, listen, I think someone, either Sawyer or Lady, it's really hard for me to be mad at Sawyer because she's so cute. I think someone may have pooped in the living room. I think that's unacceptable. And I don't know why she did it, but I think she might have. I find that particularly unpleasant to wake up to any morning, but especially on a Monday morning. Why do you want to start the week off? There we go. Look at that. Stunning. Stunning. Okay. So, it's Summit Week, and if that is a new term for you, Summit is the yearly conference for Team Beachbody coaches. So coaches from all over the world, because we're an international organization, come together one time a year, and this year it's in St. Louis, and it's just like any other, it's like when my husband did the College Football Coaches Convention or any other company that has a convention. That is what this coming week is. And we have been virtual, as have many places. We have been virtual the past 2 years. So the last live summit actually was in Indianapolis, which was super cool because it was like literally in my backyard. And this year we're in St. Louis. And if you don't think I'm lobbying hard to get Summit in Orlando, you don't even know me. So that's my next big project. Let's get Summit to Orlando. And I've been working on my Summit talks. And so here's my question for you. Sandra, you got to get up earlier. Like we can't go back and repeat information. Saying that with love. You got to be on it. We've moved on now. So here's my question for you. If you are, whether you're coming to Summit or whether you are not, this is still my question to you. If you were coming to a big conference like this, that had to do with your industry, your business, your whatever it might be. And you were listening to speakers and you had your notes and you were there and there are all these topics and whatever. What would you want to hear in these workshops, in these talks? I don't care what industry you're in. I don't care. If you were a human being going to a conference like this, full of people building a business where you could learn, where you could grow. I used to go to a giant fitness conference in Chicago. I went every year to this giant fitness conference in Chicago. It's amazing. Big fitness conference in Los Angeles. I would do that. We've all gone to conferences that have to do with maybe our work, our industry, or we've gone to personal growth conferences. Maybe we've gone to conferences that have to do with our hobbies, anything. Indianapolis is the home of one of the largest Comic-Cons. That's a conference for people who love these comics. So we all know, we have experience with that kind of situation. So let's say you're going, or you are going, or you, if you're not going, if you were going, just if you're going, and you're sitting in this big room and there's thousands of people in there and the speaker comes on stage, what would you want to hear? But what does that mean, Michelle? What does that mean? What do you want to hear from that speaker? What is something, because every person has something different. But what does that mean, Sherry? What does that mean? Like, what would be the thing? I know I'm asking you to dig a little deeper because I find this so interesting. Acknowledgement of the challenges of the past 2 years and inspiration to move ahead now and how you've moved ahead from those challenges. Okay? Well, if you're around me, you already know that's what we do every day. I don't know what I don't know. That's interesting. But I want to hear how they've learned to overcome pain points in their business, whatever their business might be, how they've learned to overcome pain points in their business. Okay? What they struggle with. Why do we always want to hear about the struggles? This is interesting to me. There's some judgment here. I'm so interested. Why do we always want to hear about the struggles? I'm just curious. I'm trying to write this in my poor compass planner is so, we're 35 days in and it's so beat up. I'm writing this in. I should have brought another piece of paper out here. What would they struggle with? How they would come? But come back to that. Why do we want to always hear about the struggles? Why do we think that change is so hard? To know we are not alone in what? Come on, let's go. I mean, get specific. See, because this is what happens. People walk into these conferences going, okay, inspire me. And the speakers might get on stage and they might say something and then you walk in, well, I don't know what to do now. Why? You gotta dig in. What is it that you think you need? And do you need it from that speaker? I don't know. Everyone had a day one, a moment to regroup and move forward. Your dream, your vision, your desire to make this worst possible and compare. Look up to you. Okay, I'm not sure. So Amelia, that's what you would want to hear, that everyone's had a day one, their first day. Well, here's my question. Here's my question to people that are asking about struggles. And again, I'm curious. I ask questions because I'm curious. How many success stories do you need to hear before you decide to write your own? Because I'm guessing, Katie and Michelle, you have heard stories of other people. If you listen, I'm going to speak in Team Beachbody lingo because that's kind of what we're talking about. I'm going to speak in Team Beachbody lingo for a minute. I'm guessing if you've listened to the National Wake Up Call every single week, you've heard 52 stories of success that people have created in our particular business. So my question is, why do we continue to want to hear the struggles? How many of those struggles and how many of those success stories do we have to hear? Is there a number? Can you quantify it before you actually go out and create your own? I'm curious. Why do we need to hear that all the time? Because I'm curious why we need to continue to hear that, and at what point does it click and go, oh, I've heard 5,000 success stories in my life. I guess it's time for me to write my own. Why do we need to continue to hear that over and over again? I'm curious. Okay, but how many of those stories do you have to hear, Katie? I'm asking that honestly. How many of those stories do you have to hear? And why do the hard things have to be the exact same? Curious. I'm curious. Amber, I would want to hear how the speaker lives their business in their everyday life. Amber, you have to spell there correctly. I know you're typing with your thumbs. I'm just saying. English teacher. Not that I go to work and come home and leave work at work. How you form the business into life. So how you integrate business and life. How successful coaches juggle all the things. Full-time jobs, parenting, coaching, still sleeping. Okay. So life. How coaches who've created success in the business live their life. You know, all of this is just also interesting to me. Honestly, it is. Especially as I'm reading more and more books about, women's habits that hold them back. How to build a solid, strong team that supports each other without the high school drama. Now that right there, if you have the answer to that, that is so much, there's so much unpacking to do around that with women right there. I have a lot of thoughts that would take longer than this. I feel that, Megan, and there's a lot. I want to hear the middle parts of success stories. We hear where they start and we hear where they are now. So what does the middle part look like? The middle part looks like this. I'm working. The middle part is work. Just work. Okay, but I'm going to go back to how many stories do you have to hear before you decide to create your own? Like, is it someone else's, honest question, is it someone else's responsibility to continue to remind you that you can do this? At what point does it become your responsibility to write your own success story? Honest question. I'm just curious. What can I take and use immediately? Okay, Kate, here's my other question. Kate, are you going to Summit by any chance? Have you been to Summit by any chance? And it could be Summit, it could be any conference. Do you get to a point at those big conferences where you're like, I don't know what to do first? Because we talk about that on my post-Summit event on Sunday, but that's always my concern is we want these actionable tips. Do we get to a place where, like, if you tell me one more thing that I have to do on Monday, I'm going to lose my mind? I'm curious. Or do you just want them all and you just want to write them all down and then try to go back to it? I'm curious. The words that shift us, thinking on, so more of an activation, yeah. So you want to hear something that makes you think a little bit, that you might write something down. Marcella is my kind of person, like, knock it off. So you need to come to my talk then. Knock it off and do the thing. That's first. Okay, so I'm curious. Kate, I want you to reflect on that next week. Like, did you feel like you got a lot of actionable tips, and then did you feel like you wrote them all down and now you're sorting through them? Did you feel like you got too much? I'm really curious on that. You get lost in a lot of the things. So this is all so interesting to me because I think as I'm preparing for my talk, I am not a tangible person necessarily. I'm not going to go tell you to do step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, because for me, you already know that it comes from this. Like, I think everything, all success comes from this. I'm more someone who's going to talk about the vision. I'm because I don't think you're going to do any of the work unless you have the vision. I don't think you'll do anything unless you have the vision. If you have the vision of what you want to create with your life, no one needs to hype you up because you will continue working because you see the vision. If you don't, it doesn't matter what someone says to you. That's my belief. That's my belief. A good coach doesn't recruit a player and throw them in the field and say, figure it out. But they're not on the court or on the field with the player either. Correct. Okay, so where are you going with that, Bree? I'm waiting for the other half of that. I want something that literally causes a mind shift in your brain. There needs to be an Energize live community session at Summit. So what coaching does to keep on the field versus staying on the bench. Reword that, Bree, it didn't make sense. I feel pumped up on my own, but hearing others pumped up gets me even more excited for my goals. So you feel like you are connected and excited for your vision, but you love to hear the stories of other people who are too, because that reminds you that it's not just you. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about any conference, right? You go to any conference and they're like, these are my people. I found my people. And we've talked about that. That's what life is, a quest to find our people. Life is a constant quest to find our people who get us, we get them, we're all on the same page, right? So I love all this. I think this is so fascinating because I want you, if you're going to Summit this year, if you're going to another conference this year, if you're watching virtual, if you're absorbing any of this, I want you to really think about what it is that you need and then start setting your intentions around that so that when you walk into this conference, when you go into Summit, when you go to your next conference, as you're taking it in virtually, when you show up on the National Wake Up Call, when you show up to your team call, whatever it might be, you're not just showing up like, okay, inspire me. Like you've got to, this has got to be a two-way street. Right here, it's a two-way street. What does a good coach do? Say or show a player to keep them on the field rather than be on the bench. Okay, that I can understand. And I'm also going to say to you, well, some players, their place is on the bench, and that's okay too. And some players, their place is in the stands, and that's okay too. Remember, not everyone can be the quarterback. Not everyone can be the quarterback. You need people who are on the bench, you need people who are on the stands, and you need people who are on the field. And I will tell you from experience, remember, I've been married to a coach for a very, very long time. There is an internal drive within some people to just never come off the field. There is an internal drive. Some people have an internal drive to never come off the field. And so they will do everything in their power to stay on the field. You can't teach that. You can maybe fan that flame a little bit, but that is something that some humans have that other humans don't. And those people who are like, I'm not coming off the field. They may not be the most sexy, the most glamorous. They might not build the biggest, flashiest business in some quick time. They might not be the ones on the stage or whatever, but they build something that changes their life. They just won't come off the field. Like, no, I'm just staying in it. I don't care. I don't care whether I miss the pass or whatever. I'm staying on the field. I'm going to figure this out. That is really internal. It's hard to teach that. I think more people than not have it. They just don't listen to it. Because if you push your intuition down long enough, you just can't hear it anymore. Joanna, I agree. So many of us are lost because we don't know how to dream bigger. I think you do. I think you just have forgotten because you haven't given yourself permission to do it. You've just forgotten how to dream bigger. You knew how to dream bigger when you were a child. So you've just lost that a little bit. You've just lost your way a little bit. It doesn't mean you've lost the ability to do it. You've just forgotten how to do it. You've just forgotten how to do it. You haven't lost it. You knew how to do it because you did it when you were a child. You've just, from society expectations to the patriarchy, the life we live in, to all the chaos in the world around us, you've let that go, whether it's intentionally or unintentionally. And now we say, well, I just don't know how to dream bigger anymore. But you do. You just haven't done it for so long. You do know how to do it. That would be like saying, I don't know how to ride a bike. You do, whether you have ridden one yesterday or 10 years ago. you know how to ride a bike. I mean, most people. It's an example. You know how to ride a bike. You might need some practice when you get back on it to get it going again, but you know how. You know how to dream. You've just forgotten, maybe because you haven't done it for a while. So you have to give yourself permission to figure that out. You have to give yourself permission to sit quietly and listen to what is in your head and your heart. And if you don't do that, that's on you. That's not because you can't or you don't know how. It's just because you're choosing not to. I said it. So I did have someone message me over the weekend like, I just don't know what my dream big goal is. And I'm like, yeah, probably because you haven't given yourself permission to even think about it in I don't know how many years. You know, you got married, you had a spouse, your spouse made a good job, your kids are doing well, like no, what do you want in your life? What do you want in your life? There was a time in every single human being's life, including women, where you had a dream of something you wanted to do in your life. And then you may have let that go just because of the world that we live in. And you know what it was. If you dig deep enough, if you get quiet enough, if you let that resurface, you know what it is. You've just lost the thread of it a little bit. It doesn't mean you've lost the ability to do it. It doesn't mean you don't know how to do it. It just means you need a little practice, like getting back on a bike, finding that thread, coming back. So when you go into these big conferences, if you could take some time and sort of get in your head about what that vision and what that dream is, and then go into, whether it's Summit this week or any other conference that you might go to, and go into it with like, yes, this is what I want to do with my life. And then you listen to all the stuff that gets presented and you see it through the lens of the vision that you want to create for your life. Now we're going to make some progress. Now you're going to come back on the other side of it with more fire, more of a plan, more strategy, more connection, more motivation. We have to stop relying on other people to be our hype girl and take that responsibility ourselves. Yes, we need to be surrounded by a community that supports us and encourages us and challenges us and gives us that hype and continues to keep our flames stoked and our fires lit. And at the same time, we have to own responsibility for that as well. It's not someone else's responsibility to hype us up. Some people, we do it because that's what we do, but it's not someone else's responsibility to hype us up, you know? That's so cool, Sandra. It does feel good to dream big again. So this week, speaking of Energize Live this week, a couple things. Number one, I am going to be doing some cool giveaways this week. So if you are at Summit this week and you are at any of my 4 talks, I'm talking 4 times. I'm talking on Thursday at the Power of I Am. I'm talking twice on Saturday, and I'm talking on Sunday at the post-summit event. So I'm speaking 4 times this week. If you are at any of my talks, and because nothing will be streamed in terms of those talks. If you are at any of my talks, I'm doing some cool giveaways. So make sure that you stay very connected here. Make sure that you're taking good notes in those talks. And I'll be doing some giveaways, from the stuff this week. So stay tuned for that. If you're not at Summit, then sorry, because these giveaways are going to be for people who are at Summit, because they're going to revolve around the stuff that I share, the talks that I do. So that's number one. There was something else that I wanted to share with you. Giveaways. Giveaways. I can't remember what else. Giveaways. Yeah, the 4th one that I'm speaking at on Saturday is the Latinx conference. They have their own sort of subset summit, so I get to go speak to them as well, which is super cool. So most of you probably won't be at that. Gosh darn it, what else was I going to share? So just make sure that you're, Energize Live this week. I just don't even know. Power of I Am. No, it's a conference on Thursday. Josh Coates, like a bunch of us are speaking on Thursday. Open to anyone who's there. I don't know, Amber. I don't really know the answer to that question. I think that I'll go live at some point on most days if I have time, but I don't know what time it'll be. I have no idea what time it'll be. So tomorrow, what's tomorrow? Tuesday. Oh, I leave tomorrow. Oh my gosh, I leave tomorrow and fly there, get settled. So I can't. I don't know that I'll go live tomorrow, but I don't know. And then Wednesday morning, we might do one while I'm making Energize because I don't have anything Wednesday morning. Then I have rehearsal, and then we have Elite that night. But Thursday is the Power of I Am, and it's really, I have to be there early, so I don't know about that. And then Friday, I don't know, maybe. And then Saturday, a super workout. And I'm on stage with Elise, and then I speak twice, and then Sundays. So it's going to be very hit or miss. You're just going to have to stay tuned to my stories. And probably what I'll do is be like, okay, I'm going live in 5. And what was the answer to how many bags that I packed for Summit? So right now, I've got 2 bags packed. Right now, I have 2 bags that I'm going. Jessica Amoroso, I love you, and I'm going to say this with as much love as I possibly can. I love this idea, but can we please replace the word guys? You're not talking to a group of guys. Okay? No. Gender neutral language, please. Would you walk into a group of men and go, ladies? Probably not. Why are we using guys to talk to a group of women? No. Our new word is just friends. Friends. Okay? Guys, I know it's kind of a Midwestern thing. You guys, it's a kind of a Midwestern thing. We're all working on it. Gender neutral language, please. So we're removing the word guys. You're not talking to a group of guys. And we don't want to be called guys because we're women. And it's not okay to use the male language to talk to a bunch of women because you would never do that to men. So we're not going to do it to women. It's not a fireman, it's a firefighter. Okay? It's not I don't even know, serviceman, it's a service person. No more guys. And from now on, you will hear how people use that term all the time, and it will be like nails on chalkboard to you. Gender neutral language, please. Friends. Hey, friends. Even the Southern euphemism, y'all. I mean, gender neutral. y'all. So it's something that we're all working on, especially those of us who grew up in the Midwest. It's a very Midwestern word, very Midwestern. Can you imagine, right, Jenny? And yet we say guys to women all the time like it's okay. Why is that okay? Why are we accepting that? We're not men. We're not guys. Knock it off. So, and the other piece that we're going to knock off is when you announce that you are opening a new business, it's not a coming out post. Yeah, Amanda, like, no, it's not manpower. It's just power. So, yeah, right in Midwest. I mean, I was in Illinois, and it's a very Midwestern. That whole guys thing's very Midwestern, and we're knocking that off. No more. Gender neutral. Words matter. So we're eliminating that, and now we know. Do it, Jetty. Just do it. Okay. You ready? She got really pretty. Look at that. Look at that. That is gorgeous this morning. That is gorgeous. Gorgeous girls. Gorgeous girls. I know, it's so amazing. It's so good. Okay, if you think of anything else that you think, gosh, this would be so beneficial to hear if I was at a conference, just DM me. Stay tuned to my stories for when I might go live this week. And stay tuned if you're at Summit for some giveaways. I'm going to be doing some giveaways. I hope I get to meet so many people live and in person, but listen to me right now. Do not ask me for a picture in the bathroom, okay? Do not ask me for a picture if we're in the bathroom. I say that not because I'm freaking Jennifer Lopez, but because people would ask, and like, read the room. People, we are in the bathroom, right? Also, I'm a human being just like you, and I have to go to the bathroom. And so we're not going to ask for pictures in the bathroom. And if someone does that and you are there, you are going to protect me, okay? If you are there and someone is asking me for a picture or something in like a time when like I'm getting ready to talk or I'm going to the bathroom or I'm trying to get to the net, you are going to protect Energize Live community. You are going to protect me, okay? You are going to help me with this. Do not let someone ask me for a picture in the bathroom. That's weird, okay? It's just, no, don't make it awkward, all right? We will hug and say hi and take pictures and do all the things, but we're not gonna do it in the bathroom. Please protect me. Do not let that happen. Okay, so stay tuned for tomorrow. We'll see. Maybe I'll be able to go live like while I'm making my Energize once I get to St. Louis, because I'll work out once I get there because our flight's so early, right? So just stay tuned for all the things. And I hope to just sort of share this summit experience with you on Energize Live, on my stories, just all the things. And Jessie is going with me, so she'll be taking some video too. So I hope to share it all with you and then talk about it all next week. So, okay, let's make it an awesome Monday. Happy Monday, July 11th. And for those of you that are going, happy Summit Week.